G'day guys, today on the Action Shed, we're back on the Daihatsu. Let's sling some new panels in. See you after the intro. We're going to put some Daihatsu back in the Daihatsu. Rightio, so we're going to go with a bit of a different camera style this episode because I left my camera at my brother's house. I took it up there, I threw a set of cams, or a cam, in his 4M and his MX-32 Crusader and was going to film that, but just got busy, and then raced back down here and left it there. So, score one for the phone camera, so we'll see how we go here. Anyway, we've cut a bit more rust out of the floor. I pulled the entire floor bracing out, as you can see, just to make it a bit easier to get in there, because the inner rocker panel needed a bit of work. So we've got a couple of bits of cold rolled steel there, 1.2, just folded it up at my boss's workshop on the pan brake. I went a little bit aggressive on this angle. I went 90 and it's probably like 85 really. So that's alright, I'll just cut it to length and we'll dolly it out and make it work. I've already cut the inner rocker panels out on both sides. The passenger side, remember how I said I was going to pull the fuel tank because I didn't want to explode? Well, Bourbon fixed that and I just cut it out anyway. So the tank's still in there. It'll have to come out to finish the cut on the passenger side. So maybe I'll have a go at that. God, it's just such a pain. I've trimmed up the driver's side though. It's ready to start sizing up a patch panel. Yeah, so maybe I'll set up and pull that tank out. Oh God, we'll see. Alright, this should be the last bolt for this fuel tank. Are you loose now? Not really. Oh Jesus. I guess that's not the last bolt. Oh, it turns out there was a sneaky bolt in the middle. Oh, she might want to come. Come on now. Don't make me get too angry with you. Okay. That's one Daihatsu fuel tank. I'm guessing it's still got fuel in it. Okay, now you can sort of see what I was saying. So this part, this well at the bottom, hangs below the chassis rails, and then this part here is actually above. So the chassis rail just pockets in there. So you've got to try and slide that whole segment out and sort of down over the chassis rail. That's why I was dreading pulling it out. It's always a pain in the ass. But I don't know if I'll be able to use this tank anyway. Nice big lump of need it there. So it needed to come out anyway, but it's just one of those things. Alright, now with the fuel tank out, we can get in and finish this cut. So, might be a bit hard to see. So the fuel tank come all the way up to here. This actual chassis leg, which meant I couldn't finish this cut off down here. So it had to come out. What I'm going to do, cut down there and then cut half the depth of this sort of land at the bottom, because I'm going to need something to weld to. So that means I've got to grind while I'm laying down and probably get sparks in my ear hole, so that's good. That's the inner sill panels patched up, cut. So what I'm going to do is prep them up, bang some holes in them, paint them, let them dry today and probably weld them in tomorrow, because it is just Hotter than your sister's girlfriend's at a pool party, and I tell you what, brother, that's hot. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Rightio, day 2. Panels are all sorted, got the holes punched in them. Just hit them with some random paint. That's White Knight aluminium from a leftover set of wheels I painted ages ago. You have a look on this one. This is the passenger side one. There's an extra set of holes in it, and you sort of see that step there. I actually left a bit of extra green on this one than this one, and I just come down 10mm from the top edge. So these holes are just like in no man's land. So I'll fix that. It's gets welded to this flange here anyway. So it's spot welded to this flange along here, and then there's some black pinch weld that seams over it. So any real bad sins will get hidden by all that anyway. So yeah, we'll get into it. I'll bust out some clamps, get this in position. Righty-o. That's a new patch clamped in. I'll start probably a couple of tacks on the top edge, then I'll go to the front edge there. And then start working on the bottom of it, because I'll have to probably push the bottom of it up. So I want it tacked in reasonably good, so it's not going to try and move that whole patch up and down when I'm forcing up there with the handle of a hammer. So break out the welder. Alright, first one glued in. There's a bit of a sink back in one spot, which I'm not real happy about, but it's not a concourse rebuild anyway. I'm more worried about it being solid. You know how it goes. It's a bit hard to control the old bloodlust when you're pulling that trigger on that MiG. I probably should have danced around a bit more and let it cool down and whatnot, but 50% of the sink back will be covered by the floor pan anyway, so it'll be alright. And it's pretty high up anyway, so you're not going to see it. But as you can see, I've started cleaning her up. I've got to climb underneath and still clean the bottom up, and then that there, that dark patch there, that's me sink back there. So as I said, probably should have simmered down a bit, but you know, when she's gluing in and it's looking good, she's pretty bloody hard to pull up, eh? So I'll keep cleaning that up, and we'll throw this passenger side one in. Alright, I probably should check that the floor brace still fits in. This is the driver's side one. I haven't cleaned it up yet. I'm going to take it to work. I just forgot. I'm going to blast all the shit out of the inside of this. It's got a pretty gnarly blast cabinet. So that sits in like that, about there. Line that up to the bottom. Pushes forward. Alright, spot welds all still line up, so the body hasn't sagged, which is good. See there? Oh, yeah, it comes over to the right a bit. There we go. Yeah, all looks pretty good. Now, to clean the bottom of this up, I've actually got to move this jack stand, which is currently holding the body up. So I'll probably have to weld the body brace in and maybe sheet it as well, because the sheet is pretty much the support of the floor or the whole car in the front corner here, before I can actually clean the welds up on the bottom ledge here. I can get the back ones, but just not the fronts because the stand's there. It was really hard to even get the MIG torch in there really. So might leave the bottom for now and leave it as cleaned up as that is. And there was like a funny little bloody ledge bracket welded up this and then went across onto here and was flushed here and here. I'll probably have to recreate that and then weld it all on. This end was just open air. The floor pan sort of come in on an angle from there and then was flashed to that and then runs across to here. So I've got to build that whole piece as well. And then we can sheet the front. But still got to plug that side up. Alrighty, let's throw this bad boy in. Might need to give this spawner a bit of a tap. Go. Front up. Okay. And the holes are still a bit out on this one, but that's alright. I should have enough out of those holes to make it happen. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's up in position. Tight at the bottom. It's good. I can actually do it coming back a bit. Something like that. Alrighty, I'll go grab the welder and start hot gluing this on beach in, see if I can maybe try and keep this side a bit flatter, because it's not fuse box and pedal box and everything in the way. You'll probably see any defect in this side, so I might just have to scooch down on the glue gun a bit and tack and wait. Yep. As you can see, I've started hot gluing it in. A couple of tacks here and there. This one I'll probably have to grind out. Didn't really bond. Oh, it bonded, but I can't get to the bottom of the spot weld hole. That's right. I'll gouge that out. Keep going. Yeah, it's going in pretty solid. It should be alright. And when I originally got this project, I honestly didn't think it was going to be this much of a hassle. I seen the rust in the floors and I was like, yeah, I've dealt with rusty floors before. I didn't, the damage to these seals was actually below the floor, so I didn't see this until I cut the floor out. So as soon as I cut the floor out, I seen that, so oh god, what have I done? But hey, it's all big rectangles, so fold metal up, weld it in. The annoying thing is you've got to do this before you can do any other repair work to put the floors in. I've still got to build this lower section here. There's another bit at the bottom of the gearbox tunnel I've got to build before I can put the floor brace in, weld the sheet in, pull the jack stands out, and start making it look like a car again. And then once all the sheets are in and done, then I can pull the motor apart, because I don't want to attack too many segments of this project at one time, because I'll probably forget what I've done. So I want to get the floors in, at least, painted, wrapped, aligned, I don't know, at least in, and have the body mounted solid again before I start pulling anything mechanical out of this thing. Because then, if I'm waiting for head work, it'll sit around for a couple of months, and then which push rod's which, where did I put the rocker arm assembly, it'll just get messy, so we'll do the meat and potatoes of the job first. These clamps, I'll tell you what, these are fucking awesome, hey? Mad little vice grips. There's copper on the back, and then it's got a hole in the front so you can actually weld your spot welds. I think it's designed for, like, if you've gone all the way through, you've got something you can plug weld against. But I had a spot weld drill, so I didn't have to go all the way through, which was good. And then we just keep creeping our way along, basically. Might be one in that corner. Yeah, maybe in that corner there. Getting solid already. Yeah, looking like a thing. It is looking like a thing. So I'll keep scooching along here and catch you in a bit when it's done. Righto, that's the inner sill panels patched. You can see I just shot a bit of primer on the drivers. I haven't touched the passengers yet, just cleaned her up. Come out pretty good, no big sink backs, so it's pretty flat, which is alright. There's a bit of a hump just there, but I'll be able to tap it out. That's nothing too major. So the next thing I've got to do, I've got to build the piece that comes down here and across 90 degrees, or yeah, roughly 90, for the floor sheet to sit on. Same here. From memory, I cut about 50mm out from the ledge that was originally there. But what I'll do is I'll put the floor bracing on and I'll measure up from the ground, because I levelled the whole body out when I put it on jack stands before cutting the floor out of it. But that might have to be next video. Yeah, you can see fresh duds. No more 5 o'clock shadow, or 2 week shadow in my case. So after I stitched that sill piece in on the passenger side, I thought I was going to pack her up, boys, but the weather got a bit cooler, so I figured I'd do a wee bit more. So I started doing that bottom section to the gearbox tunnel. Got that done, and I'll prime it up, so we'll have a bow peep. There we go. All along there. So don't mind this gap here. I've actually got to cut. I've got a replacement part for in here, and I'll no doubt just cut this whole segment out, and that'll come down and blend it in. That's why I haven't finished that weld off there. But a bit of primer on. She come up alright. She come up alright. Jeez Louise. So yeah. So I guess we'll leave it there. And hopefully next video we might be slamming some floors into this thing. I don't know if it'll probably just be the fronts, if I'm honest, because the back's a bit more work. I might even end up cutting the bracing out of the back as well, and taking that to work to sandblast that too, make it look pretty. But we'll see. So you mob, keep your upside down, eh?